this is only going to grow. I think the fact that the government is now considering descheduling it just means that everybody realized that cannabis can actually empower people to improve their well-being. And if it's to relax in the evening, or if it's for sleep or PTSD, there's benefits for so many things that people deal with every single day.
Welcome to the Dispensary Marketing Podcast, where we interview the top dispensary owners and experts in this space so that you can stay up to date with the latest trends and strategies that you'd otherwise miss out on. I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome everyone to the Dispensary Marketing Podcast. I'm joined here by Lilach and Stef. For the audience, can you please tell them who you are, the name of your store, and where you're located?
Yes, hi. I am Lilach Mazor Power. I am the founder and CEO of Mazor Collective. We have a dispensary in North Phoenix in Arizona. We also have our cultivation and production in North Phoenix. And we have a brand called Sneakers, which is a pre-roll brand in about half of the market here in Arizona, about 80 stores.
And I'm Stef Swiergol. I am the director of marketing. I also support culture and strategic initiatives.
Perfect. So, Stef, I guess we'll start with you. How did you get started in this industry?
So, Lilach has been a friend of mine since our children were very, very small. And I had the great fortune of getting to know her first as a friend. We would go to morning workout classes, go for walks, and she would tell me about this business that she was building. And it was really impressive to hear the entrepreneur's journey. So during the pandemic, when she approached me about starting a brand that would help women experiencing the symptoms of perimenopause and menopause address those symptoms with cannabis, I jumped at the opportunity and eventually fell in love with the cannabis industry and decided to leave 15 years in financial services to market cannabis.
What a role it must have been over the course of those years.
Yes, it's been incredible.
Awesome. And Lilach, how did you get started into this whole space?
Well, I actually am born and raised in Israel. And when I moved to the United States, I kind of had the entrepreneur bug and was looking at different business opportunities. And actually, one was all about wellness center, trying to offer people a holistic approach to their health. And when I realized there's really no financial backing to a business like that, I dropped it. And then Arizona voted for cannabis here in 2010. And I just thought, well, this will be another great way to combine with my wellness center. And I applied for the 2 licenses back then when nobody was interested in cannabis.
There we go. So I have a question. So Stef, you mentioned that, you guys were friends before, I guess, kind of working together in business. I know that in the world of trying to make business and friendship works, it can get a little bit tricky. How did you guys manage the kind of personal side of your guys' relationship and then also the professional side from a business perspective?
Yeah, that's a really great question. It took some work, particularly on my part, because you go from, complaining about your husbands and your kids to, whilst on a Pilates machine, by the way, that was the cherry on top. But that friendship to reporting to someone. It was very humbling. It's been very educational. I think the key is communication and feeling comfortable telling the other person when you're feeling a certain way about something. And then I do think it comes down to respect, right? Mm-hmm. She respects my marketing expertise, and I respect her tenacity and knowledge and ability to do complicated math in her head. And we're always honest with each other. And I think that's what, at least for me, makes it work.
Right. And then Lilach, from a like an employer point of view, there's this whole kind of line where it's like you're trying to extract the most amount of potential from your employee, but also making sure that you maintain the boundaries of not being the dictator boss that makes them work weekends and overtime and doing all of those things, right? When you first started working together, were you trying to tippy-toe to make sure that you maintained a personal relationship, or did you just go straight into boom, let's try and keep things as professional as possible?
I guess there's something in between.
Sure.
But I think when you hire, when it's the right people around you, there is no boom. You don't need to do that. Mm-hmm. They have it within them. They fit the culture and they fit our core values, and you don't need to walk around with a stick to try to push them forward. They do it themselves. Right. And when it doesn't work, they actually beat themselves more than you would. So I think mostly all employees kind of fit that. And Stef just take it to the next level with everything that we believe in and how she holds other people accountable for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what were those core values that you tried to embody at the beginning of your guys' relationship?
I think those values align to the values of our company. Mm-hmm. We want people to speak up. Lilach wants me to call her out when I disagree, as she will do for me, with data and evidence. We want people to be innovative. That's extraordinarily important because sometimes your best ideas come from the folks that don't even do the job day to day. We want people to be humble. That's really important. And that core value came out of a particular employee who completely lacked humility and was in a leadership role and modeled a behavior that just didn't align to what we want, right? We want people to be humble, to know that we're all always learning, and that's okay. And we want people to get shit done. Like, it's on our core value sheet right here behind me. Get shit done, right? The motto for me lately has been, we're not going to be slow and perfect. We're going to be good and fast. And that's really important.
Right.
In every role.
So you said you came from corporate finance? Yeah. What was that transition like from corporate finance to more so the startup cannabis world with lots of restrictions and compliance and, you being able to do things one day and you not being able to do things another day? What was that whole transition like for you?
In some ways, quite similar. So most recently, I was with Bank of America, where I supported their credit card customer loyalty program. Mm-hmm. Our direct mail postage budget was the budget that I had for a year here when I got here to support 5 brands. So the money's a little different. You have to be scrappier. You have to be creative. Banking is highly regulated. So there are a lot of compliance restrictions and things do change. Mm-hmm. Not as fast as in cannabis, but they do change. And then I would say that just the resources are different. You have to be scrappy in cannabis. You have to be willing to learn. I would be able to test marketing tactics and have a data analyst with a PhD evaluating the performance of a 36-factor multivariant test, right? Here, I'm lucky if I pull off an A/B test on Wednesday. So, it took some getting used to. But what I love is it forces you to be more innovative. It forces you to be more resourceful. It forces you to look around and say, how am I going to be different than all of the deep pockets around us?
Right. And so I guess at the beginning, Lilach, you mentioned you got, you're lucky enough to get the lottery. What was the next thing? What was the next step literally after that?
After we got the license, it was on hold for a year. So I got to experience staying at home for a little. Was not healthy for anyone. And, I think at that point we were just trying to figure out what it is how do you grow cannabis on a commercial level? Who are the experts? How do you hire for them? Who wants to work for us? How do we get money? You have to figure out everything by yourself. When you want to open a restaurant, there's a lot of experts. There's a lot of resources. There are loans. none of that exists in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I now say I'm an expert of what doesn't work because we have tried it all. You have to learn from your own mistakes, which is very expensive, but it actually ends up being really good. And I think as a small local business, it gives you an advantage because corporate people change and you have to grow in a way that is not necessarily focused on who you are and what you do. But as a small business, you can continue to be focused and just move forward. In an industry that changes every month, being a speedboat as a small business is our little secret sauce.
So did you have any mentors? Did you, have anybody in your network that was able to help? Did you have anybody that was maybe out of state that provided some insight that might not related directly to what the market in Arizona looked like, but was able to provide some insight?
About cannabis, there was no such thing. But about running a business, marketing, Stef has been my part of my advisory board without getting paid for a decade before she joined the company. And you just find support in that way. Entrepreneurs, women in business, startup. There are lots of resources for that. But you had to kind of like pick and choose and try to get those little tidbits from different people because the cannabis knowledge no one had.
Right. So what would you say are your current biggest challenges right now?
Where do you start? Focusing on your podcast, which is more about the marketing part. I think as an industry as in Arizona, I'll focus on that, but I know it's a lot of other markets. I think it's a very challenging time for brands. I think that we are in a way kind of destroying our own industry because we're taking a commodity, which is cannabis, we're making it a brand, and then we're taking the brand and making it a commodity, but just competing with pricing. And that race to the bottom really diminished any value of a brand. I mean, we all know that this is really the value of brands is to connect with people on the values that you bring as a brand, the uniqueness, and not just the pricing. And I think this market forgot that this is what we're supposed to do. So I think in this industry, the race to the bottom has been the most challenging one because we do bring value. We do things different. We do hold people with different values, different backgrounds to connect with the community, to give back, to grow in a responsible way, to test everything. All those things that we do that others don't. You don't even get to communicate as much to your customers in a market that just races to the bottom.
Right. So Stef, I guess from now a marketing and branding perspective, like one of the things to differentiate yourself is the marketing side, right? So you have your Walmart types of white t-shirts, you have your Nike types of white t-shirts, and you have your Gucci types of white t-shirts, right? They're all white t-shirts, but they sell at drastically different price points. So for your guys' side, what are you doing to kind of differentiate yourself and how are you placing yourself in the market?
Yeah, from a retail perspective, so we are located in North Phoenix, surrounded by no less than 5 multi-state operators, which obviously makes it difficult for us to compete on some of the more straightforward differentiators, price, for example, being one of them. So really what we look at highlighting whenever possible are our people, our product, and our process. We have a very different fulfillment model here than most stores. The store itself looks very different than most dispensaries. The level of service we intend to provide for everyone who walks through the door is different. And we really want to be a part of the customer's cannabis journey from start to finish, whether they're a novice or an expert. That commitment is shown in the way that we, for example, select our imagery for marketing, right? We highlight members of our team with professional photography. When we think about what we talk about, we have a risk-free guarantee. I think we may be the only dispensary in the state of Arizona that lets our customers try something and bring it back within 10 days if it doesn't work.
I saw that on your website.
Yeah. We like to talk about the fact that it is service at our customer's speed, right? Whether you want to place an online order because you know exactly what you want, run in and grab it, or you want to speak with one of our experienced bud tenders to really customize the selection of products that directly, apply to what you're looking for, what your needs are. We provide that service at their speed. So we really try to focus on those three things in our marketing: our product, our people, and our process, because it is so different.
Right. But before we get into that, I've realized that after all of these interviews, dispensary owners need a safe space where they can ask the questions that Google doesn't have the answers for. So what I've done is I've created the world's first dispensary owners mastermind group, where it's an environment of like-minded individuals who can help make each other's lives easier and also make more money in the process. So if that's something that you're interested in, please check out the links in the description below. Now on to the rest of the show. And then now from like a general marketing perspective, you have, again, kind of in general, two types of buckets. You have the customers that keep on coming back. So that speaks a lot of, to the retention. How are you treating customers? Do they like the vibe of your store? Do you have the products that you want? And then you have the other side, which is getting in new customers through the door. So what would you say gets new customers through the door? And then how do you keep them on the back end?
Yeah. So I'll start with the retention piece. We are focused on continuing to build out a customer communications journey that takes the customer from their first visit all the way to brand advocacy. We do that through automated emails and push notifications. We have a native app where we reward customers through our loyalty program. And then we try to encourage customers to refer their friends and family. We know that you can do as much research as you want, but if your best buddy says, "Hey, I went to this dispensary, it was amazing," you're more likely to come and try the brand. And then we try to be a part of our community through philanthropy. We try to highlight ourselves as a true partner at the local level by actively participating in, offsite employee volunteer opportunities, raising money for local charities. We believe that that new customer acquisition for our brand means really demonstrating that we are really living out what we say we are, which is a local business that's trying to be a part of a constructive part of our community. And then we do all the high level stuff too, right? So we work through third party audience extension, email, in some cases SMS. We've done the standard billboards. We've tested direct mail. It's really, really expensive and really difficult to acquire new customers. So for us, the focus area really is on acquiring as much first party data as possible so that we can communicate to the folks that have decided to step in through the front doors. We have a really I think it's just the talk of the town, like our social media for Giving Tree, the fact that we are cannabis on a platform where community guidelines often mean you're here one day and gone the other. We have nearly 13,000 followers. The account has not been shut down yet. That was me knocking on wood. And we try to show the personality of our team and our customers and highlight in that way what makes us different. And we believe that, all of those things, driving by the billboard, seeing us on social, having a friend recommend us, getting that, email from Phoenix New Times recommending us as a dispensary. And then, earned media really is the very complicated, 36 bean soup that makes us successful.
Right. The total omnipresent brand awareness marketing strategy.
Yeah, and then within a beer budget, right? So.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Now, Lilach, I would say marketing is one piece of the puzzle, right? But staff Your team, employees are another piece. And I could be wrong, but I don't think you have an army of Stef best friends that you can always ask if they want to join your team. So as the team grows, how do you kind of maintain that culture? Because with scalability comes dilution, right? The more people you add to the pot, the more personalities, the more different types of characters you bring into the fold, and you can't just necessarily duplicate yourselves over and over and over again. So what would you say contributes to being able to grow your team, but making sure that you don't lose the efficacy of how good you guys are?
I mean, again, I'm an expert of what doesn't work. So I think we tried different things. If you stick to hiring for your core values, the best fitting person, so the job description is just one part of it, just really hiring culture fit and core value fit, I think you will keep growing in the right direction as a company. The other good thing is that we're actually not trying to be the biggest. We went over 50 employees, and I'm glad to say we're under, because we keep that team spirit. We all know each other. We can talk to every person in the company. We can make sure we're supporting each other. That is something that you can only do in a smaller company, in a smaller settings. And I think when you hire people that don't fit the culture and the core values, it's very quick that you can see that it's not a fit. Sometimes we ignore it, again, even though we know it's not the right fit. You always think that it's not the right time, but it's always the right time to get people that don't fit your culture and your core values at the door and bring the right people in.
Right. So would you say that you're part of the hire slow, fire fast kind of mentality?
Yes. Of course, we don't have the hire slow of 6 months, right? Nothing in our world can take that long. So I think slow is all in relations to who we are. We are still a speedboat, and we still have to act pretty quick. Right.
So we covered a little bit on the staff portion, covered a little bit on the marketing portion. Now, if we can talk a little bit about product, because, as you guys mentioned, it's a commodity, but then you have a bunch of different products. You have your edibles, your pre-rolls, and you have your flowers, your tinctures, concentrates, so on and so forth. How do you guys decide what items fit on your precious retail shelves?
Yeah, so on the retail shelf, 50% of what we sell is actually homegrown, home manufactured. So if it's our own flower, vape, capsules, people that come to Giving Tree, 50% of them prefer what we grow and how we do things. The rest of it, some things you just have to carry. It's kind of like having the Coors Light, but you can also have the Arizona brewery beers, and people come for that. So really trying to curate our menu, that we will have the generic things that everybody's looking for, the big brands, but also really unique brands that are handmade in Arizona, and people can try the things that they can't try in every store.
Right. Now, I think you two might have different answers to this. I'm not too sure, but I asked this to everyone on the call. Where do you see the future of the cannabis industry heading?
I guess I'll start. Sure. I think that this is only going to grow. I think the fact that the government is now considering descheduling it just means that everybody realized that cannabis can actually empower people to improve their well-being. And if it's to relax in the evening, or if it's for sleep or for PTSD, there's benefits for so many things that people deal with every single day. So I think the market will continue growing. I hope that at some point we'll have an international market for this, like any other business, and we'll be able to collaborate with different brands or with different countries that can grow this and manufacture it in a better way than growing indoor in Arizona. So I think the opportunities are only going to grow. I think that is a small market. If you look at Arizona, I think we're definitely hitting another wave of, profitability has been an issue here for a lot of companies. So I'm hoping, I said it the other day, this is the year that cannabis is growing up. But we realize that the race to the bottom actually hits a bottom, and there is no sustainability in racing to the bottom because zero is always the bottom. And no one gets to loan money forever. At some point, you have to pay it back. So with that reality hitting, I'm hoping that people will start making decisions that make financial sense and will change the way we do business here to bring value to brands, to tell the stories of brand, to see the people behind the brands. There's so much passion built into this industry and so many people that really do care that I think we have lost showing that and explaining it to people why we do what we do.
Right. Stef?
I mean, that was such a great answer. Well, I don't have anything. That was great, Brandon. What are you talking about? What she said.
What she said. So I guess then my next question to you, based on what Lilach said, is: are you more so optimistic about federal legalization? Are you neutral, or are you more so pessimistic about what's going to happen if/when that happens?
To be in this industry, Brennan, you have to believe in miracles.
Irrational optimism.
Yes.
Irrational. I like that. Irrational optimism, because you have to make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was from the beginning, right? I remember when we started this, and my husband wanted me to have less than 100 plans, because if I go to jail, it's going to be, federal under 99.
Okay.
Like, this is conversation in this industry that no one else has. And you have to believe that it's not easy to change history, but what we're doing is the right thing. And we are improving people's well-being every single day. And it's going to be worth it, and will become a very funny book one day.
Hilarious.
Radically optimistic. I like it. Look, I always say at the end of the day, when you're kind of, sitting on the rocking chair, the one thing that you really have is the stories that you can tell to other people. And you better believe that you guys will have a lot of stories to tell. So, again, radically optimistic is something that I really like. Now, we have this segment on our podcast as well, where I ask the previous guest owners what question they have for the next guest. And they don't know who you are, because obviously I didn't interview you guys as yet. So the question from the previous guest is: how do you incentivize your bud tenders? And you don't have to go into nitty-gritty detail and give away secrets, but in general, you can just say,
I don't believe in secrets. It's a silly thing that people believe. I think what we learned that doesn't work is when other brands incentivize your bud tenders, because other people control your sales team. As a small business, making sure that 50% is our own home brand is how we incentivize them. Making sure that they understand that what they do here in the store affects the livelihood of the trimmer, a mile away. That is how we keep it working. How this model can work is only if the built-in understanding that as a small business, your loyalty is for the home brands to continue to support every person that works in this company. Other than that, I mean, they have their KPIs, right? So it's how many people they see, their size basket, the percentage of home brands, and how much they sell per hour. I think it's like any other retail store.
Right. And then the next question is: what question do you have for the next guest owner I have on the show?
Ever since you sent that, I was like, what am I going to ask?
I think it would be interesting for me to know, for people that started, I don't know who interviewing next, but I think it would
neither
be
do I.
need to know if when they started it, did they have a set exit plan? And I think a lot of us in this industry started this with such passion for cannabis that there was no, I'll do this and then I'll sell. It was really about, working our butts off for a decade just to try to get to where we are. So I'm wondering if other people had a better vision.
And then lastly, what's next in store for you guys over the next little while?
I think overall, we're just going to keep doing more of what we do in a better way. I think this industry in Arizona right now has not a lot of growth. There's no more doubling the revenue or what we do. So it's more about efficiencies and it's more about being unique. And this is what we do best. So really focusing on being excellent. To stop the growth actually lets you focus on who you are and what you do best. And I think that has been really fun to talk about on the brand side and on the retail side of how do we focus on that special, unique who we are and what is the one thing we're known for. And that is such a great time to be in this industry because you get to say, this is the one thing I want people to know me for. And I think this is what the dream of every brand or every company is, to be able to stop and think about that. Yeah. So I think for us, it's really becoming excellent at the things we do, staying focused on what we do best. And I think for Stef and I, is really the journey of creating other brands that are not a disruption to the current business, but, doing other things to keep our creativity bug going.
Right. So 5 years in the future, what do you want to be known for?
Definitely art for me.
Yeah, go.
I think
you're the owner.
I think showing that a small business in cannabis can work better than others has been my win in this industry. We have no debt and we're profitable, and that's unheard of. We're women owned. We have no investors. It's very exciting to be where we are. And I think, what do I want to be known for? I think the brand that we're creating for perimenopausal menopause would be the legacy. The one thing that creating a product and a brand that really educated and supported women through 40 to 60 will be the biggest win.
Awesome. Where can people find you if they want to get in touch?
Well, we'd love for them to connect with us on any of our social channels, but you can find us at mazorcollective.com, and that'll link you to Giving Tree, our retail, sneakers, our wholesale brand, but obviously hit us up on LinkedIn, all the places. We're everywhere, Brandon.
We're everywhere.
We're everywhere. Fantastic. Well, look, Stef, Lilach, thank you very much for a touch over the 30-minute mark in terms of what we wanted to hit, but I think that's perfectly fine. They say smart people learn from their own lessons and wise people learn from the lessons of others. And you guys have imparted some really good lessons in this short period of time. So again, wanted to say thank you for hopping on this call. I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. You did a great job.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. Well, for everyone who's still on the podcast listening and watching, I'm your host, Brandon Kwan, founder of CannabudMarketing.com. And if you want to hear more, you're going to have to wait until next week because this is it for this episode. So I'll see you guys later. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Dispensary Marketing Podcast. My name's Brandon Kwan, and I'm the founder of Cannabud Marketing, the #1 marketing agency of choice for dispensaries, both in the United States and in Canada. If you ever want to get in touch with me about any marketing strategies, tips, and tricks, I can definitely help you. Just go visit our website at cannabudmarketing.com. That's CANNABUD NNABUD marketing.com, or just check the links in the description below. Until next time, talk to you later. Bye.